Welcome to kusum.net. This is ASP.NET MVC application tutorial, and you are watching part 43, hidden input and read-only attributes. In this session you will learn the attributes hidden input and read-only. Before watching this video, please watch my previous parts 40, 41 and 42. In previous part 42, I was explained about opening a page in a new browser window in MVC using UI hint attribute, right? So today we will learn about hidden input and read-only attributes. Hidden input attribute is useful when you want to render a property using input type equal to hidden. This attribute is extremely useful when you don't want the user to see or edit the property, but you need to post the property value to the server when the form is submitted so the correct record can be updated. Hidden input is present in system.web.mvc namespace. You can see here this is my metadata class, and inside of this I have written the attributes for this id property. Okay, attributes are hidden input, and inside of that display value equal to false. If I place in place of false, that is true to it. Okay, in my last session I was explained about this, and I have this type of output. Okay, this property is seen here, this id property is seen here. Okay, now I want to hide this property, but the value of this id property will go to the server but didn't seen on the output window. Okay, for that what we will do, I will go to this employee model class which is reside in this model folder. Okay, this is my employee model class. Okay, inside of this I have using this partial class employee and the metadata class. Okay, so that I can change inside of this partial class. Now I will write the id property here. No id property, right? So I will mention here before that I have to close this top debugging and right now public integer id and get set. Okay, and on that I will add attribute, but before add the attribute of hidden input I have to write namespace using system.web.mvc. I have already written here this. Okay, so now hidden input, inside of that I will pass display value equal to true. Okay, now let's check. If I write display value equal to true, then it will show the value. Let's check. Okay, my program is running now, and when I have placed this value equal to true, display value equal to true, then this browser displayed the id value. But when I write display value equal to false and build the program, and run the application, okay, you can see here my id value is now hidden. And when you right click on this browser page debug pointer and check here, you can see here this id is 1 is present here. Okay, so it just hide the value and pass to the server. Okay, now so this id value hidden input is generated, and now read-only attribute. Read-only attribute is present in system.componentModel namespace. As the name suggests, this attribute is used to make property read-only. Please note that we will still be able to change the property value on the view, but once we send it from the model binder will respect the read-only attribute, the server, and will not move the value to the property. You can also make property of a class read-only simply by removing the set accessor. You can see here this is read-only attribute in my metadata class. Okay, and I have used here this email address as a data type dot email address. So this read-only attribute will give change to the client side, but server will not do the modification and receive the request. Okay, now see in the Visual Studio. So email address field I have to add here. So write public string email address. Okay, what is the name of email address? This email address. Okay, and get set property. Okay, and I have to add here read-only attribute, but before that I have to check whether the namespace is present here. Yes, using system.componentModel is present here. Now so I will add here this attribute read-only true. So it just read the value from browser and pass to the server. Server will receive the request, but doesn't modify the necessary changes. Okay, now let's gonna check. Before running the program, I must have to build the model. So let's build the solution and then run the program. Okay, to edit in email address, we have to write the code for editing in the controller side. Okay, and this details method is just display the data, but I have to modify this email address. So write the method for editing, copy this, and you have to create new view page. For that, right click on edit, click on add view, and we will pass edit model template. Okay, so edit, and this edit model template, and model class will be, this is my web application 1 and employee web application 1 dot models class. Okay, this is my view page, and I have to use here now editor for model. So I have delete all the code and using this @ using html.reading form. Inside of that I will pass @html dot editor for model. Okay, now run this program. Right, you can see here this is my editing form, and I can change email address. Okay, even giving after this read only attribute. Okay, even giving after this read only attribute. This is read only attribute. Okay, server will accept this request of changing but didn't modify it. Okay, so I have to write the edit code to submit the editing. For that I will go to this default controller and write another method, post method, for the edit purpose. Okay, so close this session, and in place of this http get I will use this http post, and leaving the same, just add here the class employee and its object to pass. Okay, and leave this same code here to get the ID of the employee. Okay, and add here where you have to change. Okay, means which properties you have to change. For that I have already write this code. Okay, because of short timing I will copy this and paste it here. So this is very simple and forward application programming. Okay, I just use Control KU to uncomment, Control KU. Okay, ID, full name, gender, all things. In place of this employee object I will use this employee DB object. So pass here employee DB. Okay, and you can see here I have written this same code of this http get to receive the single employee record, and now I will check whether if is model state valid. So model state dot is valid. If model state dot is valid equal to true, then you will change these fields. Okay, and you will pass the state to this model. So db dot entry, inside of this there is model name dot state equal to entity state dot modified. Okay, and for this state you want this namespace using system dot data dot entity, right? And after that you will save the changes, redirect to action to the details view. Okay, and pass this employee object to the view. Now let's gonna check, run the program. Okay guys, this is my view page. Now in email address I will change. Okay, let's 1 2 3. Okay, I can change here, but when I click on the submit button there is no submit button, so I will add this submit button. input type equal to submit, and value equal to submit. Right, save it and refresh the page. Okay, now I can see here this submit button, and I am changing this name. In place of Devendra Nikam, there is Devendra Patel. Okay, and age 40 to 45, and in email address, in place of Dev Sulu, I will use Devendra Patel. Okay, so now submit the changes, and check here. For that you want debugger here. Okay, you can see here in this code I have not passed this email address property. Okay, ID, full name, gender, age, hair date, salary, all, but email address I have not passed. Okay, so place the debugger, click here, again run the program, F5,